Dr. Anas, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Thank you.
You were on a medical mission in Gaza. You just returned, Dr. Anas. What did you see there? Tell us about your experiences.
So there's multiple levels of suffering you see when you cross the Rafah crossing. First of all, you see the people in the tents that they've been pushed from northern Gaza City down. Some of them pushed many times during their life. Some they been pushed from 1967 from the occupation territory and all the way to Gaza, and now they have been pushed to Rafah area. You see the suffering of the children, that they have no access to clean water, they have no access to electricity, they have no access to food, right? So basic needs are missing there. And unfortunately, there's a little bit of efforts by the UN, not good enough at all to get the supplies, to get the aids, to get the medical aids into Rafah. Lots of suffering over there. But when you go to the hospitals, you see different level of suffering from the trauma standpoint, and not only due to the bombardment, not only due to the injuries, but even non-trauma illnesses, because you don't have any dialysis units, you don't have access to cardiac surgery, you don't have access to obstetrics and gynae services and so forth. So not only the war is impacting the injured, but even because of the lack of basic medical services in Gaza particularly, but even in southern Gaza, there's a lot of suffering by the patients over there.
So what did you go to treat? What sort of injuries did you go to treat, doctor?
So I'm a trauma surgeon, and I did a trauma fellowship in Canada, and I've been in war zone before in Syria multiple times. This is my specialty. So when I heard that the WHO is coordinating for the first medical mission to enter Gaza, I put my name. I didn't believe that this is going to happen, because I put my name several times before that with different organizations, never happened. But then they said this time is true. So I put my name and got the visa from Ottawa quickly, and then went to Cairo with 6 surgeons. We were 2 from Canada and 4 from US. And over there, all of us are trauma surgeons, from a neurosurgeon, a chest or thoracic surgeon, abdominal surgeon myself, and orthopedic surgeon, so we can cover everything. And we went there to treat the injured, children, women, you name it, because most of the casualties, unfortunately, are civilians. And we witnessed that. It is not fighters, it is civilians who are suffering firsthand.
And many of them children.
Many of them, 50% of the injuries, like if we get 15 injuries at a time, I was just counting them, about 7 or 8 are children. And the problem, is that the capacity in the hospitals are so limited. Even the 2 major hospitals we went to in Khan Younis, they're good hospitals, but they're overwhelmed with patients. We had about one hospital, the European hospital, over 500 wounded patients on the hospital. So it's overwhelming for the staff, for the surgeons, for the nurses to take care of all these kind of injuries. And then every day there's a massacre, 2, 3, and then you add an extra 20, 30 injured. So it is overwhelming.
What sort of injuries were you seeing, doctor?
So all kind of injuries, mainly actually lower extremities.
Okay.
Because of the bombardment. It looks like the airstrike, when it hits the ground, it reflects into the lower extremities. But what really makes me feel bad is the children injuries were multi-organ. I think because of the size of the children, it impacts their head, their chest, their abdomen, and many of them actually died either in the scene or during the transportation to the hospital, and we could not do much about that. But most of the injuries are lower extremities injuries, and unfortunately, because of the lack of the supplies and the expertise and even the medical staff, we had to do a lot of amputations. Some of them are chest injuries, abdominal injuries, and we did many craniotomy for head trauma and bleeding in the head. So all kind of injuries, actually.
Can you talk me through the amputations? Because I understand that in a different situation, let's say you were in Canada, you might not necessarily have done amputations, but you're doing them in Gaza.
Yeah, I mean, if you are in Canada or US and you receive a gunshot, for instance, in the thigh or something like that, and then you have a medical team from vascular surgeon, general surgeon, and orthopedic surgeon, and all focusing on that limb, ideally, yes, you can put the vessel back together, stop the bleeding, and save that limb. But unfortunately, I can show you some pictures where we had 15, of one family coming all together. Many of them are lower extremity injuries. And you figure out if you're going to spend all that effort and time on one patient at a time, then you're going to lose everyone else. So unfortunately, the more efficient way to deal with these kind of injuries is not ideal. It's just to do amputations because it's quicker, and you know that you don't have the time and efforts to be able to put the vessels back together, which is ideal in a good circumstances. But in a war zone like Gaza, this is not the case.
Dr. Anas, how did you control your emotions at that time? I'm sure you were dealing with really horrific injuries and situations with children. You might not have had anesthesia and those sorts of things, right?
I mean, as a surgeon, you're used to bleeding. You're used to dealing with tough injuries. But it's still, you have to cope with that. I read a little bit Quran between the cases. We do some zikr and then we do some jokes even between the cases with each other. You have to keep up the spirits, and you're there to save lives. If the emotions impact you, then you'll be paralyzed, and then defeat the purpose of the whole trip. Mm-hmm. So you have to keep the spirits, whatever it takes you to keep the spirits up. This is what it takes.
Doctor, what do the people of Gaza need? Like, what do you think is the most important thing that they need help with?
I think they need and that's what they told me actually. That's what firsthand they said. Please keep raising awareness, push your government. They know that the Western governments, they can do more. Push the U.S. Government, push the European governments and the Canadian government to do more. That's what they needed from us, because it's different than the Arab wars and other countries. Probably the governments, they don't listen to the people as much, but they know that our governments, to some extent, they listen. So they need us to talk to the MPs, to talk to the government, raise awareness about what's going on the ground, send more supplies, more medical aids, and bring the hospitals back to function. Mm-hmm. From the healthcare standpoint, in Gaza, northern Gaza particularly, they need the hospitals to become functioning again. None of the hospitals in northern Gaza is functioning as a hospital. They became, unfortunately, after the bombardment by the Israeli people, became medical points now. So if you're a woman and you have miscarriage, you may just bleed to death. As simple as that. If you get an appendicitis, for instance, and you need simple surgery, appendectomy, you will not find anyone capable to do that surgery.
But in the South, you do?
The South, to some extent, you do, but they're still overwhelmed. Like in the South, the occupancy of the Khan Younis hospitals, the two major hospitals, is 250 to 300%. Mm-hmm. So if you have capacity for 500 patients, now you're dealing with 1,500 patients. So what kind of quality of care are you going to do? And the other part of the story is that, the patients, if you want to discharge them home, they have new homes, mm-hmm. right? If you want to send them with medicines, with the drugs, there's no pharmacies left. And if there is a pharmacy, they don't have funds. So it's layer, suffering, right, from all aspects. They need everything, to be honest with you. But number one, they need us to push for a ceasefire, push our government to see the true suffering of the civilians. Because again, we witnessed a lot of civilian sufferings. I never saw any fighter, as far as I could tell, in the hospital. I don't know.
It's good that you mentioned that, because
I don't know
I don't understand why Israel's
I don't know where they
targeting
treat them, but in the hospitals there are no tunnels. I could not see any tunnels, and in the hospitals there is no fighters. All civilians that we're seeing every day. They're hitting houses, hitting the streets. So even people moved from Gaza. They went to Rafah. I received many families, they were hit by airstrikes in Rafah. They say, Rafah is safe, go to Rafah, go to this area, and then it's hit. So unfortunately, there's nothing safe. We need ceasefire, and we need the government to witness these atrocities and call for ceasefire.
Dr. Anas, was there any moment that really impacted you, such that maybe you still think about it now? Or somebody who you encountered in Gaza, who you keep remembering?
Yeah, the moments actually which impacted me, probably the children in the tents, right? I mean, you pass by and they go after you because they think probably you have access to water in the hospital. You have access to food and this and that. It is really heartbreaking to see the children in the tents, that they have no access to clean water, that they did not take a shower for months, that they're suffering in bugging people to give them water to drink.
Yes.
I think that's the part that we should not be witnessing in 2023 or 2024. Yet, unfortunately, the world is witnessing this and doing nothing.
Doctor, you've been to many conflict zones and served as a doctor in those situations. Is there anything unique about Gaza? Like, is it worse? Is it better? How does it compare?
It is different. I mean, in the Syrian war, it wasn't easier in terms of the injuries that we have seen and the atrocities by the Syrian regime and so forth. But this war is different from the healthcare standpoint, is that there is no way to transport patients outside of Gaza. So the Gaza people not only suffering because of ongoing bombardment, very highly populated area, but because unfortunately the countries around them, they're not allowing the injured to be transported to hospitals at the border.
Okay.
Like in the Syrian cause, we were able to transport patients, not with, it wasn't easy, but with a little bit of difficulties, but at least we had the Turkish, government supporting field hospitals at the border or inside their towns, so we were able to transport these patients to the Turkish hospitals. Unfortunately, in the Gaza, if you are bleeding or if you have severe illness, there's no capacity, then you'll die because there's no way to transport these patients to the nearby hospitals or nearby countries. And the number two is that when there is bombardment, when there is airstrike, the ambulance people, they told me that it is not safe for them, particularly when it's dark in the middle of the night, to go and take patients back to the hospital because they feel it's not safe because the ambulances, many of them were hit by airstrikes. Yes. So it's not even safe for the ambulance to go and evacuate the injuries. And that will increase the casualties and increase the amount of death that we're witnessing in Gaza.
Dr. Anas, thank you for all the work that you've done. We admire you, we respect you, we honor you, and we hope that others will take up the same cause as well. And hopefully this war will end and people will have their medical needs met in Gaza.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. We have some exciting news to share with you.
As you know, Let the Quran Speak has been on TV screens and social media for 22 years.
We've been reaching people all around the world, spreading positivity and good and helping people experience the beauty of Islam and the accomplishments of Muslims.
We've been shooting in this very space for the past 2 decades.
And now, with the help of Allah, we're about to get the keys to Muslim Media Hub.
If you like what we're doing, you're gonna love Muslim Media Hub even more.
Because it's the next step up.
Think new TV shows, podcasts, social media content, and film.
It will have new talent, more youth, and a lot more space and resources to do what we love. Spread the message of Allah.
Our Muslim Media Hub costs $2.4 million.
And for that, we need to raise $300,000. Please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help establish Muslim Media Hub so we can do this.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be of benefit to the Muslim community long after we are gone.
Thank you, and may Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always.
Assalamu alaikum.